Can you explain what's happening here to the lovely people?
I am weeding our French drain, of course.
Of course.
There is, so we had some rain recently, and, oh goodness, that's big. Look at that. There's lots of little weeds and grasses coming up in here. To be fair, some of this was here before, but
some of it, but
haven't got around to taking.
Oh, goodness me.
Concerning. Yeah, we need to do something down here.
So we have a question.
We have two actually related questions. Let me sit down because I'm old. The first question is, would we do it all again? Now I assume that this question relates to the project, the renovation, rather than chickens or something else, because it wasn't very clear, but let's assume it's about the project.
The project as a whole.
Would we buy this particular property again, knowing what we know now? For me, it's a very big yes, because I love this property. So we didn't know the extent of all the work. We certainly didn't think that we would be digging up all the inside and doing the groundworks out here. But I think with any property you buy, there's always something that you don't know about, and there's always going to be improvements that you need to make. And my attitude is, well, just get on and do whatever that is. And in this case, it's a lot of work, but we're not in a rush. Like, we don't have a set time frame, and everyone keeps asking how long is it going to take.
No idea.
Don't know, like many years. But this is our life. We're not on a timetable. It doesn't matter. This environment, the setting, is what we wanted. I'd be bored if we'd bought a house that we just moved into and only had gardening to do. Like, that's not challenging enough for me. So yeah, I would 100% do it all again.
Do you think you'll do it all again once we've finished this one? Like another project, a different house?
I would like to. I think I've still got a couple of properties left in me. It won't be our home though. This is our last home. Touch wood. Whatever.
There's none of that around here. It's all concrete.
I hope this is our final resting place. Not in that sense, but in the sense that I want to put all the work into this, all the blood, sweat and tears goes into this home, and we stay here. But I want to do some other building stuff. This is a stone building, and it has certain restrictions, and only certain techniques can we use here. But I think there's some other things I'd like to try. And there's certainly a lot of property around, so I really would like to. Oh, there's a beautiful building in our closest town that's falling down, but oh my God, it's the most majestic building.
Yeah, it's a beautiful old building.
And I would love to take it on, but it's probably about, I don't know, 15, 20 rooms. I don't know what we'd do with it, but it's lovely. If I could ever get the funds together to do that, I would be doing that. I mean, I would stop this project and start that one.
Oh, no.
So yeah, I think I'd like to do a few more to widen the skill set and learn some more things and try some different stuff, but this one first.
I'm sure you've just made some people very happy indeed.
I mean, we could be doing this for the next 20 years, right? Even this project could take another 20 years.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Would you do it again?
So I think my answer to this question changes depending on my mood. And I'm not in a great mood today. I'm not sure why. Nothing particularly has gone wrong, but sometimes things just kind of get you down, or you walk around and you go, oh, that needs doing, and oh, that needs doing, and oh, we've started that but not finished it, and started that but not finished it. And so sometimes, yes, I wish we hadn't started this in the first place. However, on the good days, of course, I don't think like that, because otherwise we wouldn't have started this in the first place. And whilst, yes, on one hand, being able to buy the perfect house in the perfect place that looks just right and has got just the right amount of land, that needs just the right amount of work, that it's enjoyable and not overwhelming, sounds great. But that place does not exist, except for in my mind. And if it did exist, chances are we couldn't afford it. And if it did exist and we bought it, we would probably be bored. Although we would find something to fill our time, because we're good at doing that and coming up with all sorts of interesting projects. Because there's loads of things that we want to do and test and learn and experience and play with in the future. And putting in this hard work now is going to enable us to do that. Some of the building work that we're doing at the moment is not my favorite kind of work. I have no problem with the kind of manual labor stuff because you can just kind of get on and do it.
Digging.
Yeah, I don't like digging. But a lot of the stuff that we've been doing up until this point, there's a lot of complexity with it, and there's a lot of researching, and then a lot of doing, and then sometimes some undoing and redoing. And that just, it really stops us from getting into a groove with it. And sometimes that is a bit frustrating. But this place is going to be amazing when it's finished. It's going to look fantastic. We're going to have the sense of satisfaction of doing the vast majority of it ourselves. We will be getting some help with some specialist things, but for the most part, we're going to have built this house or refurbished, regenerated, restored the place. And I think that is going to give us a much greater sense of satisfaction than if we'd just bought something that we could move straight into.
Can I interrupt for a minute here?
Yes.
This is why our window is letting water in. We have a leak, and now I see why there is water coming into our bathroom.
Is it because the window doesn't close?
Yeah, it's come completely unattached from the building.
You've been saying for ages that you can't wait to do the windows.
Yeah, this might be sooner rather than later. Yeah, that needs some work. Right, let's crack on. Get my weeds up there and talk about the other question. Maybe we'll head up to the tent.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go.
And talk about whether we would live in a tent again if we had to do this all over again. So I'll keep this short because there's a very quick answer to this, which is I think the tent has been a brilliant solution. It's much more spacious than a camper van, a caravan. A yurt would be bigger. It is hot in the daytime, but we're not in here in the daytime because we're working. It is cold in the nighttime in the winter, but we have a wood burner. It is pleasant temperature around about 6 p.m. onwards in the summer and in the winter when we have the fire on. The only downside that we hadn't kind of perceived beforehand was the quality of sleep. And it's not good quality sleep because you hear every piece of wind, you hear every car that drives past, we hear all of the dogs, we wake up with the birds. So that part probably is the only thing that I don't really like about it. In hindsight, yes, a yurt would have been better, but only because it's now been 2 years. If it had been 6 to 12 months, the tent would have been perfect. And we now kind of live halfway between here and the house. So we actually have a bed in the house, mostly because of the quality of sleep issue. But that house is just as cold in the winter as it is in the tent.
And it doesn't have any heating.
And it's warmer in the summer in there in the nighttime than it is in here in the nighttime in the summer. So pros and cons of both. I still think it's worked really well for us. Any kind of outdoor living, whether it be a caravan, yurt, etc., you're still open to the elements, so the wind and the rain, and we have an outdoor bathroom. All of that would still have been an issue regardless of what this would have been. But I like the fact that it's big and spacious, which you just couldn't get with many of the other options that were available to us. And we couldn't have got a caravan or a camper van actually on site because our gates are really small.
Yeah, I completely agree. The tent was the most affordable, largest, simplest, and most comfortable way of going about living on site during a renovation. On previous renovations, we've lived in the building that we were working on, and that was horrible, quite frankly. Even though in other cases we had electricity and hot water and heating in to some degree, but just living in the place that you're working with all the dust and the dirt and the rubble and the tools is not much fun. And so being able to have these separate spaces has been really, really useful for us, particularly because it's a very long project. For me, the challenge with any of this stuff is the cooking and the dishes and all the other things that surround living. And so whether it was a tent or a caravan or even a yurt, all of those things would have been pretty much constant. Yes, maybe if we'd known that it was going to be a 5 to 10 year project, then we might have invested in a yurt, but that would have been 10 times the price of what we paid for the tent. I don't think there is an easy solution to this. And I'm sure if you've done a renovation project like this and you've had to find some kind of temporary accommodation, short of having another house or renting another property, there is never a perfect solution to being super comfortable while you're doing the work. I think that answers the question. And in the spirit of doing things again, we have something else that we did once and showed you and have done again, but better. Are we having tea?
No, we are not. So you may have watched another episode there where we made some lemon fizz.
Melon fizz.
What did I just say?
Lemon?
Yeah, that's because it looks lemon. We made some melon fizz, but it turned into melon vodka. No, let's try this again. I can't get my words together. So you may remember, if you watched a previous video, that we tried to make some melon fizz. The watermelon fizz worked, but kind of worked.
We made melon vinegar.
We made melon vinegar from cantaloupes, rock melon, honeydew, whatever you want to call it. And it didn't go so well. So I decided to try again. Now I only changed 2 things so that I could keep a track on what the 2 things were. Instead of using the big round container, I just used a smaller 2-litre glass container.
We used a smaller fermenting vessel.
Yes, that. And what was the other thing? Oh, after I'd blended the melon, I strained it at that point, so it was only the melon juice that went in and stayed in the fermentation vessel. Everything else was the same. In the same room, same quantities, a little bit less yeast because last time we put too much, though I don't think that makes any difference. This is what we have. So if you remember from the last video, we squeezed in the bottle. As it carbonates, it fills up and it undoes the pushing in. I don't know how to explain that.
The secondary fermentation happens in the plastic bottle, and we use plastic for safety reasons in case it over carbonates and explodes, which is bad. But the fermentation creates carbon dioxide, which is a gas that expands and fills up inside of that plastic bottle until it can't expand anymore. And so once it's nice and firm, you know that it is full of gas in the top section at least, and it should contain lots of bubbles.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Let's not get showered with melon fizz. Oh, that's much better than last time. There's a few bits in there, so...
That's why you're doing a tea straining.
But look at the fizz!
Nice.
Now the question is, does it taste any good? So it smells better than last time. I think last time I described it as baby sick smell.
And then vinegar.
It smells much more like melon. Oh, that's good.
Really?
Horrible, you should not have any of that. That's really good.
You're not just pretending for the camera.
I will drink the whole glass just to prove it.
It's not necessary. It's good.
Yeah, it's not that fizzy, but it's very melony and sweet. It doesn't taste very alcoholic though.
It's almost got like a... Oh, it's got lemon in it, and that's what I could smell. It was quite kind of lemon juicy on the nose. And then there's kind of a funky fermented note to it.
It tastes a little bit like sweets or lollies.
That is really good. It tastes like...
Haribo.
No, not... Well, yeah, a bit like Haribo. On the kind of initial sip, it's got quite a lot of lemon juice flavour, but then you get a nice melony aftertaste. That's actually really nice. It's not very fizzy, but it doesn't have to be too fizzy, I don't think. That's really good. I'm quite impressed. It's also still quite sweet, so I wonder if not all of the sugar got eaten up by the yeast.
Yeah, we decided to fridge it pretty
quickly. We put it in the fridge pretty quick because the bottle was really starting to puff back out again. That's really good. It's still very sweet, actually. We might need to do some more experimentation.
You're not finishing that?
Oh, I'll have a glass of my own, thank you very much.
This one was a winner. I'm actually really pleasantly surprised. Yeah, and we have some more melon left that we have in the garden, so I'll do a few more experiments.
So there you go. Would we do it all again? Yes, probably. Will we do it again in future? Probably. It's definitely not something that I would call easy, but it is 100% worth it at the end of the day, particularly when you get to kick back, look at your beautiful work in progress house and sip on a glass of melon fizz. So I'm very much looking forward to doing that. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.
Bye!